Hero of Sparta is a 3D beat-em-up available on the PSP and PS3 that, while has a very similar theme to God of War, definitely tries to be its own thing in terms of mechanics. Now, there isn't a lot to the core combat. You have a light attack and you have a heavy attack, and you can perform combinations of both buttons to do special moves. It's stuff you've seen a bunch before. All the combos are fairly simplistic and have fairly simplistic utilities. You can also use a special move unique to each weapon you get with the circle button, which is mostly used to clear out a wide area of enemies, such as that. And the variety in weapons was probably intended to be the main drawing point of the game, with you getting about 5 different weapons along your adventure, each with different special attacks, combos, and different attributes that make them useful in a variety of situations. Or at least I assume that was the idea. Each weapon even has a unique ability, a passive ability attached to it, such as if you destroy large amounts of enemies with the Sword of Damocles, you gain more orbs for your health and experience, which you can use to upgrade your weapons. Kind of a cool concept, but the weapon balance is incredibly poor. As much as the game tries to encourage you using different weapons, the Sword of Damocles is just the best one all around. It has a great area of effect attack. You can stun lock most of the larger enemies simply by mashing square, and you can knock over everything with it. There's no enemy type in the entire game that it's not useful for, and there's just really no reason to use any of the other weapons, which all have distinct weaknesses except for this one. This one has no weaknesses at all that I can see. So the variety in weapons, special attacks, and passive abilities really don't mean anything, because the game is meant to be challenging, and if you want to negate the challenge in the simplest fashion possible, you just use the Sword of Damocles. Puzzle solved. All the enemies go down quick. Even the more minor mechanics meant to keep the game engaging, like the combo system, where if you score over 10 hits in a combo you deal more damage, rarely noticeable with the Sword of Damocles, because the enemies go down so quick either way, and after you get 10 on your combo counter, the combo stops doing anything. You don't get an additional buff when you reach 50 or 100 or any such thing like that. So the weapon variety doesn't matter, the passive abilities, special attacks, and even combo system don't matter, so the only thing left to give the game variety or substance would be the enemy types, and sadly the enemy types aren't so great either. The enemy types largely come in 2 varieties: small enemies and large enemies. You're mostly going to be fighting large enemies, and the problem with this is whenever you defeat a large enemy, you can do a QTE, which makes it drop more health orbs than usual, and there's no reason not to do this because killing a few large enemies with a QTE refills your health almost to full. So, you know, why? Any mechanic or idea that could make the game interesting is undermined by the game itself. The weapon variety is useless because one of the weapons is just so much better than all of the others. Any challenge in the game is negated by the fact that almost every enemy you fight refills your health. And even the smallest mechanics meant to add more nuance to the system are just utterly ignorable. You may not even notice they're there if the game didn't point it out directly to you. So what you're left with is a fairly mindless game. And, you know, it's only 2 hours, I guess, but really they tried and it didn't work. I don't know what else to say. They tried and it just didn't work out. I can at least say there was a genuine attempt here. There was a genuine attempt at game design. The game design just conflicted with itself on far too many levels.